And here is the Writer's Almanac for Wednesday. It's the 27th of April, 2022. It's the birthday of Mary Wollstonecraft, born in London, 1759, who in 1792 came out with her book, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, in which she said that women should be taught, that they should be given skills to help them support themselves in widowhood so that they need never marry out of financial necessity. She took the philosopher William Godwin for a lover. He'd been a friend. She became pregnant by him. They had a daughter, Mary, who would grow up to marry Percy Shelley and write the book Frankenstein. Mary Wollstonecraft died of septicemia 10 days afterward. Godwin, in his grief, wrote a memoir of her life, which was an unconventional life. He meant the book as a celebration of her life, but readers were shocked at her love affairs, her suicide attempts, 2 daughters conceived out of wedlock, and the book was a terrible blow to her reputation. It's the birthday of August Wilson, born Pittsburgh, 1945, son of a German baker, an African-American cleaning woman, grew up in the Hill District of Pittsburgh with his mother, 5 siblings, in 2 rooms, no hot water. They all shared the yard out back. His mother, Daisy Wilson, taught the boy to read when he was 4, and a year later he got his first library card. He was a bright boy, but he suffered from racism in school, dropped out when he was 15 because a teacher accused him of plagiarizing a paper about Napoleon because she didn't think a black student could have written anything so good. So he taught himself. At the library, he read Richard Wright, Langston Hughes, Ralph Ellison, joined the Army, started writing poetry. When he was 20, his father died, and he dropped his father's name, Kittle, and took his mother's name, Wilson. And he and a friend started a theater company in the Hill District where he grew up, staged his first play in 1973. When he was 33, August Wilson moved to St. Paul, Minnesota. He took a job at the Science Museum, writing scripts, adapting Native American stories. Sent a play to the Playwright Center in Minneapolis. He won a Jerome Fellowship. His play Jitney was produced, set in the Hill District in the 1970s. And then came Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, set in the 20s. Fences, set in the 60s. Joe Turner's Come and Gone, set in 1911. August Wilson set out to chronicle African-American experience through the 20th century, decade by decade, and his final play in his 10-part Pittsburgh cycle was Radio Golf, which is set in the 90s. It premiered in 2005, and Wilson died of liver cancer 6 months later. August Wilson said, "My greatest influence has been the blues," and that's a literary influence because I think the blues is the best literature that we as Black Americans have. Blues is the bedrock of everything I do. If all this were to disappear off the face of the earth, and some people 2 million years from now would dig out this civilization and come across some blues records, they would be able to piece together who these people were, what they thought about, what their ideas and attitudes toward pleasure and pain were. All of that, all the components of culture. Here's a poem for today by Jane Kenyon in several colors. Every morning, cup of coffee in hand, I look out at the mountain. Ordinarily it's blue, but today it's the color of an eggplant. And the sky turns from gray to pale apricot as the sun rolls up Main Street in Andover. I study the cat's face and find a trace of white around each eye, as if he made himself up today for a part in the opera. In Several Colors, a poem by Jane Kenyon, from her collected poems, published by Grey Wolf Press, and used by permission here on the Writer's Almanac. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.